listening to Opening the Harp Chakra, the podcast, bringing you beautiful, healing, magical harp music and talking with the artists that create it. I'm your host, Jay Michaels. Thank you so much for being here. Today's guest, originally from Italy. She has a master's degree in harp performance from Milano. She's performed all over the world, delving into many different musical styles, including classical, pop, jazz, Broadway, Bollywood even. She's a teacher, lifestyle speaker, and is known as the Unconventional Harpist. We'll talk about that. She's now based in the States, in San Diego, and she joins us on the phone to talk harp. Chiara Capobianco.
Buongiorno, good morning, everyone.
Buongiorno.
Ciao, I should say in Italian.
Thank you for being with us today. I really am happy to talk to you.
And thanks for having me. I'm delighted to talk to you. Thanks for doing your podcast. And it's wonderful to be on the line with you, talking about all things harp.
All things harp, exactly. Chiara, what first inspired you to start playing the instrument back in the beginning?
Well, my sister, she inspired me. My bigger sister, she actually was going to the local music school and she was starting to learn how to play the flute. So I was inspired by her. Being the younger sister, I want to do whatever she was doing because everything seemed so wonderful, and including music. So I asked my parents if she could, if I could get along with her to the music lessons, and I did. Mm-hmm. So I started with flute when I was 7 in the local neighborhood music school. And then after a couple of years, the music teacher, so I learned how to read music, and I was like, I had a good, aptitude for music in general. And the music teacher suggested to my parents to enroll me in the proper music school, the Conservatorio di Musica di Milano, which sounded so posh. Yeah. and it was. And so I did. And by age 9, switching into the middle school, I got into the school and I studied flute, piano, and harp. But actually, I continued and finished my studies with harp. So it all started thanks to my sister and her flute playing.
Well, let's listen to some of your music. Could you tell us about the sonata?
Yes, so it's one of my favorites to play. It's a cute little gem by this Spanish composer, Matteo Albéniz, not to be confused with the more famous Isaac Albéniz, guitar composer. So this is Matteo Albéniz. It just so happened to have the same surname. And it's a Basque composer from the Basque region of Spain. This song is just so cheerful, uplifting. It's in 2 parts. It's a sonata, the sonata. And in 2 parts, it's just like a wonderful, I love playing it all the time. It just has particularly great vibes to me. And also to who listens to it.
So that's the music of Chiara Capobianco and the sonata. Chiara, you describe yourself as the unconventional harpist. What exactly do you mean by that?
Yes. Thank you for asking. And yes, I never really fit into the classical world, although I've been trained in the classical, classical studies and did a little bit of orchestras, but I always felt like a bit of an outsider, and I wanted always to do like different things in a different way, so unconventional, if you will. And so I figured that word really represents me in a way, that because I do a little bit of everything. Another synonym could be like eclectic. I like to do a bit of everything, always changing, and always like being challenged to play different kind of music in different environments for different type of crowds, not only one thing, not just wedding harpist, not just orchestral harpist, or not just classical music, nor just pop. So everything. I play with DJs sometimes. I still do weddings. I jam and improvise with different musicians. And then, of course, I play classical ensembles and Bollywood music and Broadway, anything. So I feel that's quite unconventional. I can switch in between different types of harps and repertoire as needed, as requested. And to me, the challenge, it's very thrilling.
So, Chiara, I was reading on your website in 2002, after graduating, you ate your last decent pizza, left Italy, and went to London. Can you tell us a little bit about that experience?
With pleasure. Thank you. Yes, indeed. So graduated, and I always had a thirst to like travel the world and discover, other places and bigger vision, And so for the first stop, it's London because it's nearby, and I always wanted to improve my English. I'm still working on it. But nonetheless, so I left Italy and I just packed up a little bag and my little harp, the smallest harp that I had at the time. And I went to London and I decided, see if I can make a living with music. It's close enough to Milan. It's like an hour and a half flight. That if something goes wrong, you can just easily go back. No big deal. And that was the beginning of all the international travels that unraveled after that exact moment. And I have to say, I still found decent pizzas wherever I've been. So
good. I was going to ask.
That has to be said.
Good. And you learned to speak several languages along the way, too.
Yes, indeed. So, of course, my first language is Italian and then English. I studied German in school, and then I speak a little bit of Spanish and a little bit of French, just, to get by. And I do speak Thai because conversational Thai. Of course, I cannot read nor write and in Thai. But I'm amongst all the different travels that it all started in London in that moment. I also then ended up several years later in Thailand, and I played for a 5-star hotel and for 4.5 years. So, of course, living there, immersed into the culture, so I learned how to speak, so I was able to go out and talk the local language, which was very much appreciated. And of course, having a musical ear for us, it feels natural to just learn the sound of the words. So it was easier to memorize and learn new words just by listening to the sound of it.
Well, let's listen to another piece of your music, another example. This is an Italian song called Caruso. Could you tell us the story behind this?
Indeed. That's my favorite song ever, first of all, and always a pleasure to play. I always incorporate it whenever I am to play, like either to warm up or something. I just throw the song into the playlist just because I love it. And it comes across everybody else whether they heard it before or not, they love it too. It's an Italian song composed by singer, musician, songwriter called Lucio Dalla, who just passed away recently, a few years ago. And it has been made famous because it has been sang by Pavarotti and Bocelli and alikes other tenors. And so it's quite popular. It's a love song dedicated and inspired by the great tenor Enrico Caruso, which I'm sure everyone have heard of. And it's a love song. It's beautiful. It's wonderful lyrics, wonderful melody. And I did my own arrangement of it. And every time I play, I must say, that's just a recording that I did. But every time I play, whichever song, I play it in a different way. It's never the same.
That is the Italian love song called Caruso, interpreted, performed by Chiara Capobianco here on the podcast. You're living in San Diego now, so what kind of gigs are you playing, and what's happening with that?
Yes, indeed. So in all my traveling, I call it the gypsy harpist traveling. Mm-hmm. Here I am now, since the last couple of years in San Diego, California. It was a random arrival, and then I liked it and I stayed. And I play in a lot of different places. Italian restaurants, first and foremost, because there are a lot of Italian restaurants here, and everybody's inclined to have live music. Well, that was pre and post pandemic, of course. And where I can get to play for the audience. It's sort of a piano bar, but on the harp. So I ask for some requests to whoever is in the audience. So I do weddings. I oftentimes collaborate with a DJ collective. They play electronic and house music, and I plug in with my mic and the electrified harp, and I jam, and I play beautiful whimsical melodies on top of those dance tracks. And we do open air event for everyone to socially distance dance.
Excellent.
And the collective is called Church of Music. Nothing religious about it, just because in music we trust.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
that's the name of the collective. And then I play for various events, birthday parties, dinners, anniversaries. Recently, I started collaborating with event planner. They organize picnics. So now it's the new thing here in Southern California. I'm doing picnics I bring my little harp and I just serenade. Picnics on the beach or at the park. So open air, distance,
Mm-hmm.
but still recreating that beautiful vibes, including the music.
Nice. Nice. Well, let's listen to one more piece of music from you. This is Una lunga storia. Am I saying that right?
Una lunga storia d'amore.
Mm-hmm. All right, the beautiful music of Chiara Capobianco on the podcast. Thank you so much for being with us today. It's really nice to get to talk to you.
Thank you. Likewise. Thanks for having me, and wonderful talking to you. Thanks for all the beautiful podcasts that you put out there and reaching each and every person all over the world. It's fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And we'll, of course, include your information in the show notes to the podcast, your website, and YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, so people can find you and get in touch with you. So,
Grazie mille. Thank you.
Thank you so much. If you have questions or guest suggestions, please email me at openingtheharpchakra@yahoo.com. We've also included links to PayPal and Venmo if you'd like to help out financially with the production of this endeavor. Please subscribe, please share, please tell your friends. Thank you once again for listening. I'm Jay Michaels. In the coming weeks, more great, beautiful harp music from all around the world. Peace. Namaste.